Wow, nice turnout. And here's what the new people I think will find possibly interesting. So, as you guys know, this is a free coaching seminar all about creating abundance, right? I would love Florin. What's up, Romania? Woo woo. I would love for the rest of you who are already in our programs, have done coaching programs with us, etc., to in the chat box say like how long you've been working with us, what programs you've been with us, etc. Because here's what I find to be really fascinating. We do this as a intro call, right? An intro coaching session. And yet I would probably say that more than half the people in here are in our programs and still come to these. So if that gives you any indication of the kind of value that we provide here, like they come time and time again, they're in our paid coaching programs and they come to these, which is just absolutely amazing. I love that. It's such a cool energy. And yeah, if you look, Melinda, masterclass, she's been there now for 2 months. Patricio, 3 years, 3 programs, only coaches I purchased more than 1 program for. Woohoo! King Kev is one of our coaches. He's been with us for so long. We've already like trained him to be a coach.
Hence he's dubbed the king.
Yeah, we've dubbed him the king. Cynthia was at our live events, 3rd paid coaching program with these rock stars. I mean, I find it so amazing that you guys choose to come back here and spend your valuable time with us at this. So with that being said, I think for the newbies, I'll do a quick little intro because it's not really about us. This is all about you. While I'm doing the introduction, here's my recommendation. You probably saw the emails, and if you didn't, it's not too late. Don't worry, no panics. This is a live coaching, raw, unedited for you. Okay. We've created this with the idea that if you actually got to see the experience of what Guy and I are able to do in a very, very short period of time and just sharing some wisdom with you that you can then go and implement into your life, then you'll have a very good understanding of the kind of coaching that we provide. And then whether you join, our masterclass or purchase one of our info products, you'll have a really good understanding of what it is that you're getting into. You'll have a feeling of it. You'll have an understanding of it. And that way, rather than us run a bunch of slides and tell you how great we are, which I don't think means shit, we've tried this and it's worked really, really well. At the end of this, I'm just letting you guys know, we're going to offer you to fill out a questionnaire. So if you're not really quite sure like where it is on the gamut of all the things that Satori Prime offers, you land, we're actually going to have you answer a few questions, and then I will actually be able to guide you on which program or what the next step or how we can best support and provide you with that support. So Satori Prime, Ilan and Guy. So I'll give you like a quick 3-minute thing. We actually just celebrated our 7-year anniversary, which is just monumentally amazing. We created this company, and I can't even call it a company. We created Satori Prime as an idea to transform humanity. Since that time, we've put a number on it, and our goal is 100 million people's lives transformed. We actually started at 1 million, and then a guy one day called me. He's like, we got to up that number. I was like, great, 10 million. He's like, no, throw 2 zeros on that bitch. And I was like, what? I'm a little scared.
That actually happened.
But it's amazing, and it's the reason we wake up early every morning and pursue this life so that we can share some of the stuff that we're going to share with you here today. We actually started in the marketing world, so we did a lot of online marketing, trained people on marketing, and in 2016 decided that it was time to fully own our life's purpose, got rid of everything that was sales, marketing, etc., and we now only do personal development. So whether it's talking about relationships, mindset, abundance, how to tap into your intuition, we cover it all, and we have all sorts of different things that we help people with that. And depending on their level of investment from a time perspective and money perspective, we work people at different levels. So that's where that questionnaire is going to come in handy at the end. what else can you know about? You should know about us. We're Israelis, so if this is your first time, you'll notice that we don't bullshit. We're going to give it to you straight. We're going to treat this as if we were coaching you, as if you were one of our paying clients. So that relationship, we're already assuming that you came here to experience that kind of relationship. So if we say something and you don't necessarily like that something, listen to it anyway, try it on, whether here, you take it out into your life. And I can promise you that if you implement it and really inquire about it, you'll have some massive shifts. So what I started to say, and I forgot to say, is if you have any questions for us, please start typing them into the comment box in here, and we will go in the order that we receive them. So generally we can get through, 6, 7, 8 of these questions. I don't know. It kind of depends on the depth of the question. We might have follow-up questions. So please be as specific as possible when you are putting in these questions. Anything to do with abundance, how to manifest abundance. And while you're doing that, I just want to clarify, because I don't know that we've done this per se on one of these. And bro, I'd love for you to chime in on this. But I was thinking today during lunch, I was like, how do we define the word abundance?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think abundance is a word that gets thrown around quite a bit. And I don't necessarily think that people define it in their own lives. It's just kind of this like esoteric word.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking like, what's my definition of abundance? Not like this, dictionary definition, but like, what's my definition of abundance? And I was thinking that it's a state whereby life is effortless and easy, and the results that I manifest are effortless and easy. That's kind of what I was like.
I love that definition.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because what we're going to share with you guys today is how to tap into that state. And abundance, okay, that state where you manifest with effortless and ease, right? That flow state where things are just happening. I just want to offer you, it's not this fictional, out there, amazing thing that it would be so cool if I had. You have it. You have it. In fact, you've created spectacular results in your life while in that state. The key difference is you are unconsciously doing it. And how I know that you've done that is any story that you've ever told someone that started with something like, you won't believe what happened. The craziest thing happened to me today. Every one of us has those stories, right? That's when you were in the state of abundance. Okay? What we do here, what the trainings that we take you through is how do you get to tap into that state consciously and ongoingly on a moment by moment basis versus having just like that magical moment once in a lifetime or, a few times here and there. How do you do that? And that's really the conversation that we get to have here.
I think as far as definitions are concerned, I don't know that I could come up with a better one. Certainly everything that we train on these days and what we've been training ourselves on very intensely the last few years. And by the way, I'm getting a little of an echo from you too.
You are for me.
Yeah. Is really how to start altering the conversation, both psychologically and emotionally and sensationally in the system that we rework basically the fundamental training that people have on this planet that have a belief that everything has to be hard, that you have to work hard for results, that relationships are hard, marriages are compromised, like all these fundamental things that not necessarily that they're wrong, that oftentimes they go unquestioned. And then we live into a life that the container that's set for everything to show up in creates a subconscious kind of like model that has you actually working really, really hard to get the results that you want in life. So this is exactly what we want to talk about is investigating those conversations and seeing if we can at least begin chipping away and dismantling these fundamental beliefs. Because guys, truly in this life, in this world, if any of you guys have been doing personal development for any period of time, the thing that you hear most often is, right, you're responsible for your life. And you get to create this life however it is that you want it to be. We truly believe that because we do that in our lives every single day. We be that in our lives every single day. The people we worked with for years now, the people who are on here, many of them who are on here right now, will tell you that they've seen fundamental shifts in the way that they operate in the world, how results show up for them, and the effortlessness that seems to be put forth in order to create those results. So just kind of as like a let's break the ice here, that's what this conversation is about. A lot of you guys probably hear abundance, you hear wealth. When you hear wealth, you hear money. However, money, while it might be part of that equation, is not the totalitarian or like the totality of that entire conversation. I don't know about you guys, you could have all the money in the world, but if you feel abandoned, isolated, and no love in your life, I don't consider that a victory or win. Then you just have a lot of money and you're probably kind of a jackass with it, right? So you can't really see it right now, but we have this moniker, have it all. You probably see a piece of it over here and a piece of it behind Ilan's head. And the reason we came up with that, not that we came up with that saying, but the reason that we like to use that is because we really like to look at how are you doing in every area of life? Grade yourself. And if you're not living life minimum at 9 or a 10, where you're just ecstatic about the way that area of life is showing up right now, then there's something that we get to look at, have a conversation, and go to work on and see how you get to fundamentally make those shifts so that it can start being easy to live your life at a 9, even better at a 10, right? So the areas of life that I would just throw out there, and I can even put a poll in here in the box real quick. Let me just put up the poll while I'm saying this. You guys should see it right now. These are the different areas of life that we kind of have people look at, right? You have your health and your fitness, finances or business, relationships, love life, family, self-love, communication. So if you would take a quick second, just put that in there. And then you guys will kind of get a scope and feel of who's in the room right now and what area they're working on. Predominantly, what we generally see is, and it's already doing that now, is finance or business. Again, a lot of people just have this belief that if they just had more money, things would be taken care of. And that's certainly something that I'm sure we'll touch upon today. So as you guys are answering that, bro, you're probably extracting some questions in there.
Yeah, I was just kind of trying to get certain people to be a little bit more specific if they can. Cool. But I think Ivalise.
So before you do that, if you just got in here, this is really interactive. We'll be here with you guys for the next 80 minutes or so, giving you coaching that we would give our high-end clients, right? We really don't hold back anything. So if you're going to ask a question, more than anything, specificity is wildly important with these questions. If you're not specific, then we have to make certain assumptions about your situation. And then we kind of give you a more general take on it versus something that might be usable for you like right now. Like you can get off this webinar, put it into action and just see how it completely shifts. We use a lot of different techniques. I don't like calling them techniques either, because that's like saying somebody who's been dancing salsa for a long time is using a technique. We've been doing this dance for about 16 years, and we extract, our gift is to kind of extract things from really high-end spiritual ideals that have become personal development structures, and giving them to you. Sorry guys, I woke up super sick this morning and my brain is like, giving them to you in a palpable, practical way so that you have something that you can implement when you get off of here. And that's why these webinars are so powerful. It's why people keep coming back to them. So I'll let you ask the first question. We'll go from there.
I think this is so funny. It's like such a human phenomenon. Guys, I want to make you aware of something. Notice how, and this is not to make anyone wrong, right? Like we are here to show you patterns of humanity. Laugh at them, right? Like bring some humor to this. Otherwise it gets very serious and very, very heavy. I find it very interesting to see how our mind works to solve certain things. So notice we said, hey, you have an opportunity to ask 2 coaches who've been doing this for 16 plus years and have invested more than $1 million in their education and have coached tens of thousands of people and had massive, massive results for these people, right? And we're like, be specific. And then people will say like, you know, how do I deepen my understanding of abundance, right? Like, notice how we ask these super general, big idea questions. And we do this all the time in our lives. When we ask these big questions, there is no answer. There's a bunch of kind of maybe sort of hypotheses that you can come up with, right? But you notice when you ask these big questions, you continuously circulate and just drop deeper and deeper into a rabbit hole that gets you nowhere fast. We are afraid to look at the intricacy. We're afraid to look at the real situation of it. So it's not like, hey, I'm struggling around, emotions with money, right? Like, how do I help that? No, it would be like, hey, so the other day, my wife said this thing to me. And when she said this thing to me, I got really, really upset. Or I was trying to launch my business, and then this and this happened, and it completely derailed me. And, things like that, that will help us get you much more concrete, useful, practical information that you can take in your life. So, all right, there was one, and I think this jumped, so let me just kind of scroll down here. All right, so Evelise asked, I have a difficult time acknowledging my own self-worth and asserting that. For example, I'm currently applying for jobs and I'm not comfortable aiming high. My friends keep telling me I sell myself short. I asked her to extrapolate a little bit more, and then she wrote, I tend to look for and apply to positions that are lateral or do not pay much higher than I'm currently earning. Awesome. So Evelise, as I'm starting to talk, I would love to find out from you, what is the thought? There's some sort of pattern. Okay, so we have a perception of the world. That perception of the world stems from our belief systems. Belief systems are things that happen when you were really young as a theory, and you said, hey, I'm not smart, or I'm not worth it, or people are mean, or the world's not safe, or whatever it is, and then you found an endless amount of proof for what that is. So clearly, our life expands based on our belief systems, right? Your perception of reality will never falter. You will validate it over and over and over and over and over again. You want a new reality, guess what you need? New perceptions, new beliefs. So right now we can assert, without even getting any more information from Evelise, that there's some sort of perception about self that has perpetuated this cycle. And I will assert with 100% certainty that this is not something new. This is something that Evelise has been dealing with, whether it's trying out for sports teams or different clubs or whatever it is. It's always selling yourself short, making yourself smaller, etc. So as we start this conversation, if you could just give us a little bit more information, that would be really, really great. One story that I find really fascinating, there was a study done about the difference between men and women applying for jobs. And a man, to apply for a job, if he reads, like the job requirements, and he will meet even 50, say 60% of those requirements, he will apply for that job and believe that he deserves that job. A woman will read those requirements, and if she's missing even one, will not apply for that job. Mm-hmm. And even when they check all the boxes, will apply, but don't believe that they deserve that job. Mm. And just programming, like social innate programming. So let me see if she added anything here. Wow, you guys are super active today. All right, as much as I hate to admit it, I sense that deep down, I feel like I'm not smart enough or good enough for these higher paying jobs. Amazing.
Cool.
Okay.
Which is great because we have some other people in here talking about self-worth and stuff like that. I just want to point out, right, that we're talking about getting a higher paid job, and yet that it comes down to a conversation of self-worth. and self-love. So what I always find so interesting about the poll, and granted, part of it is that we market this webinar as an abundance webinar, but as you guys have already probably seen, that abundance doesn't necessarily equate to money alone. Surely, again, could include that. But the people come in here, usually 40 to 60% of you guys, all you care about is finance and business. And the moment you start talking about it, the underlay is, I don't feel worthy of that. And then you only have this other 25% of you guys who put under self-love, which is kind of the answer you're looking for when it comes to your finances. So go ahead, bro.
So do you want to just keep rolling with it?
Well, you had an idea, so I'll let you start, and then I'll pick up from there.
So Ivelisse, like, this is just a great example of what stops all of us. So I'm just going to use this kind of like as a overarching concept for everything else that we do today. Where most people look to alter their reality is by working harder and doing more. Now, what did I say the definition of abundance was? Effortless ease, right? Manifestation with effortless ease. Okay. Now, doing more and working harder, while that can produce you results, it's not the kind of results that we're talking about here today. We're talking about the results that are magic, right? Joe Messina, and I think his wife is on here as well, sent us a video. They were in one of our programs recently. They've been looking for a house for 9 months, and every time they found a house, they were outbid. They went through our program, literally walked into a house and put a contract on the spot for it. And after 9 months of struggling to find a house, all of a sudden found it. Now, did anything change in the marketplace? Did anything change with their approach? No. But energistically, their belief system completely altered, which allowed for something to show up. I said this on the last webinar, and people really resonated with this. Here's my take on it. Every single one of you is a master manifester. You know how I know that? You manifest every single second of your waking and sleeping day. Right now, you are literally manifesting. What is the energy that is creating the manifestation is all of your beliefs, most of which are below the surface and completely unconscious, and you have no idea. So for someone like Ivelisse, who's trying to create this amazing job, that up here, she's like, I know I'm worthy of it. I know I should ask for a higher paying job. And yet somehow none of that makes a difference. And Ivelisse, this is like a little bit of good news, bad news. The bottom line is, until you deal with the core reason, then you will keep perpetuating the cycle over and over and over and over and over again. And for the rest of you, whatever your pattern is, whatever the thing that you've been trying to break through is, here's the issue. You have at any given moment 4 levels of depth to which something gets created. You have the mind, like you have a thought, you have the physiology, you have the emotion, and you have a body sensation. All 4 of these, unless you can heal a bunch of the stuff, right? Like people do mindset stuff. Okay, so what are you healing? You're healing your thoughts. You're maybe dealing a little bit with your emotions, but the core issue is still there. And then other strategies will deal with, okay, we're just going to heal the body. Great. Until you heal all of that, you're just going to keep perpetuating the same circle over and over and over. Mm-hmm. So looking at the core foundational belief system, the understanding of what is that in your life is a really good place to look. So Ivelisse, this jumped on me, so I might be, oh no, it's here. So like, I'm not smart enough or good enough, right? So Ivelisse probably grew up in a home where her parents were really, really smart and had a bunch of degrees. And at some point, she had this notion like she was stupid, and then went out and became a brainiac and did all these amazing things in school, etc. And no matter what, still feels stupid. The stupidest people I know have the most degrees on their walls.
the ones that feel stupid. Essentially, you're trying to whatever sensation you had early on about feeling stupid or being bad, you're going to spend a lifetime building a life that protects you from feeling that thing. So the people who have an underlying belief that I'm stupid are the ones that end up with the most degrees, again, trying to provide a life that blocks them from the experience of stupidity.
Yeah.
And when that stupidity thing gets triggered by a spouse, by a person in the workplace, by maybe about their health or whatever it is, the tactic ends up being avoidance or, or like anger or something like that, right? So that's kind of just given a little bit more overlay on that. And that's true for all belief systems for the most part.
Yeah. So for everyone else, like we're just using this as an example, but you can literally map this on whatever your thing is. Okay. So Ivelisse, the question is, how do you start to alter that? The good news is you already have. Asking the question, asking the right question is a great way to already start that process. The next piece that I would offer you is notice that in the moments, there are two separate entities. There's actually more, but I'm just going to simplify it and say two separate entities. There's your highest self, okay? Your soul, oversoul, highest self, etc., whatever you want to call it. This is the part of you that dreams big, wants amazing things, etc. Then there's that little nagging, annoying little voice inside of you that tells you all the reasons that you can't have those things, right? Like the little brat, the little kid, the little one that keeps nagging at you like you're stupid, you're not smart enough, you're too old, too young, they're so much better than you at this, etc., etc., etc. The first step is to realize that those are two separate things. It's not you saying that to yourself. Those aren't necessarily your beliefs. Those are programs that you've been believing for a long time, but it's not you. So if you notice, Ivelisse, probably when you're thinking about going to ask for something or applying for something bigger than what you feel comfortable, it feels uncomfortable because that little girl inside of you is like, they will never allow me in because I'm not smart enough. And there's a whole process that happens. There's a physiological process, there's an emotional process, there's the thoughts that are running through your head, right? There's a world of it. And what we do or have done up until this point is we buy into it. We buy into the feeling, we buy into the thought, we buy into the emotional charge, and we stop. Every time you want to live outside of your box, you're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to have to get comfortable with that little bit of a zap. Because the things that got you here are not the things that are going to get you there. You've heard that before. So, what are you truly committed into your life? Truly, what is it? Are you going to buy into that belief system that you're stupid, which has robbed you not only from this job, but many others and many, many, many other opportunities in your life? Or all you have to do is realize that that's there. That's just noise. Think of it like a radio station playing in the background. Instead of buying it hook, line, and sinker, you could just notice it. By the way, guys, my conversation is I'm bad, I'm a loser. That conversation, like, do you think that I'm a loser would stand in front of you right now? How effective would that be? It wouldn't. So my commitment to the transformation of the planet far supersedes my little conversation of me as an I'm a loser. I'm a loser can't change the planet. I'm clear. So I either buy into the I'm a loser conversation or I realize that there's something much bigger at play. So Ivelisse, for you, now the practice is, and this is an ongoing practice, now the practice is noticing when that's there. And as the adult that you are, I don't know what age you're at, but as the adult that you are currently, you get to choose. Is it true that I'm stupid and I don't deserve this job? No, it's not. Will it make me uncomfortable to ask for this? Yes. But you know what? If you buy into that other story, you'll never even ask. You'll never even know. Your reality will never, ever change. So what is it that you're committed to in your life? And until your commitment, your why of doing something is bigger than that buying the bullshit of that story, which I get has a lot of proof for it, right? Like decades of proof for it. I get it. It still doesn't make it true. It just means you've chosen to find a lot of proof for that. What if now, right? Like Guy and I have raised our hands, and this is not in a cocky way, to say that we're the one. Like the transformation of humanity, we're responsible for. Why? Because we just fucking chose to be responsible for it. Not that we're more special than you or anybody else can't do that. We've raised our hands.
As much as, and I'm not putting us on this level, but as much as like a Martin Luther King or Gandhi or a Mother Teresa might do it in their own unique way, right? They just raise their hand to play that game. That's something that we're extremely interested in doing as well. Yeah. And are doing, yeah.
So Evilise, like, if right now you could get that that's just a belief, a perception that probably a 5 or a 6-year-old girl created, and through the years just found more and more and more and more and more proof to validate that belief, is that belief true? It's not. Right? It's just something that you validated. Just like the belief that most humans have that working really hard is the only way to reach success.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty. Mm-hmm. Guilty. So I was like, okay, that produces results. Is it the only way to produce results? No. Let's play. Now I get to produce results with effortless ease. And now, notice what I do. New theory. Now I've trained myself to find proof to prove that story correct. Now, which story would you rather have? That to become successful, you have to work really, really hard, or to become successful, you get to receive that with effortless ease? One is not more right than the other.
So let me chime in here, right? Because
yeah, please.
Ultimately, it's like we're running experiments all the time, right? We're running psychological experiments, we're running energy experiments all the time, and we're just seeing what we see when we run those experiments on ourselves. Whether you would see the same thing, we don't know. But I just want to kind of give you a few things to tap into from a psychological perspective, and then I'll talk to, because I see a lot of you guys are in the frustration of your belief systems and stuff like that. So I want you to just get clear on something. This is not coming from Ilan and myself. This is coming directly from science and people studying the brain and neurology and all these type of things. I want you to write down the word on a piece of paper in front of you, frustration. And then I want you to write down below that a word, confusion. I'll just assume that you're doing that. Again, first word is frustration. Second word is confusion. From frustration, draw an arrow and then write breakthrough. And from confusion, write an arrow and then put learning. So why am I telling you this? Because science has proven by researching the brain and seeing the chemicals that are getting released in the brain through the pituitary gland, is that what always happens before you have a breakthrough is what people biologically describe as frustration. Those are the actual chemicals that are being released in the brain. Before you learn something, the brain chemicals that get released are the ones that we describe as confusion, which means these two things will always precede the two things that most people are learning, are wanting to experience, which is breakthrough and learning. Okay. Now, I'm going to create a quick distinction here between 3 different things, because what we're talking about and why a lot of people struggle with ease and grace is because ease and grace actually occurs in this 3rd realm, and a lot of people try to access it through the 2nd realm, and it's, in my personal opinion, not fully accessible, or maybe not accessible at all in that 2nd realm. So humans, we're capable of instinct, we're capable of intelligence, and we're capable of intuition, right? So you have your instinct, your intelligence, and you have your intuition. Most of the questions, if you guys go look at the questions that are being asked here, are trying to not just be asked, but also understood by intelligence. If we break down intelligence, by the way, this is where most of the planet is living right now. Intelligence kind of falls into these 2 quadrants. It's the things that you know, and you know that you know them already. Like, I know my name, I know my address, I know where I live, I know Ilan's family, blah, 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 whatever. And I know that I know those things. And then there's things I know that I don't know. Like I don't speak Japanese. I don't know how to fly planes. Like I've never been to space, right? However, I know that I don't know those things. And that's kind of the world of intelligence. It's the world of informational learning. And what we're talking about here is the world of transformational learning that actually happens outside of the world of intelligence. Because if you already know it, then there's no opportunity for a breakthrough. If you go investigate scientists who are creating the biggest breakthroughs on the planet and those eureka moments, they'll describe them as not coming from intelligence. They'll describe them as coming from beyond, from coming from the greater intelligence source, from God, from universe, from that kind of stuff, big head, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter to me, but it's like, that's just where that stuff comes from. What Ilan and I are pointing to, and we're going to point to a lot here, is your intuition and what's blocking from you from having radical, deeper understandings of certain truths that align with who you are, that are far beyond what an intelligent person would be able to comprehend or understand. You guys get that language is extremely limiting. When I say the word love, your body begins having a psychological and physiological response to the word love based around your beliefs of what that is. But for no two of us is it the same thing. And none of you, I think, could make a case for that the word love absolutely describes the sensation or experience of being in love, falling in love, being present during love, all those kind of things. So words are an extremely limiting resource when it comes to the actual fundamental experience of being human and what we're actually capable of experiencing. Said another way, there's a really big difference between me describing to you how to ride a bicycle and explain to you the physics and the inertia and all the things that you would need to know to gain balance versus actually getting on the bike, experiencing balance, having something in your physiology pick up on a frequency that we're calling balance on a bicycle. And then suddenly you have a knowing, not an understanding, different, a knowing, not an understanding of how to ride that bicycle for the rest of your life. Can't be unlearned, by the way. I also want you to notice that when that happens, that phenomenon doesn't occur to you as I discovered something. It's like I remembered something. It immediately feels natural. Immediately feels natural. That's the breakthrough type of work that you can do when you really start tapping into your intuition. This is why, for those of you guys who are like, how do you make it easy? How do you make it easy? This won't make it easy. I want you to get here that all the things that you believe about yourself that hasn't worked or have worked and all those things, I want you to notice how you have a lot of opinions about those things. And then I want you to notice that those opinions have made zero difference in your ability to have radical breakthroughs in the quality of your life. It's great. I'm glad you have an opinion about the fact that you're stupid. It does not make you feel any less stupid. Right. So there's something else. Right. So there's something else, right? If you're like, okay, that's interesting. Even if it's just interesting for you, the fact that you just said this is interesting, you're a little bit more open than maybe you just were a moment ago. And that's kind of the point of this little debrief that I'm giving here. So now let me take you to the physiology of what we're talking about here. Because a lot of you guys have mentioned, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel love. And to me, the transition on the planet right now, the biggest thing that we can offer a cure for is how everybody feels not worthy. So I've been saying this for years, right? Like years and years and years, probably every webinar we do, I say the number one virus on the planet, it's not AIDS, it's not cancer, it's not any of these things. It's a lack of self-worth. Now, if you're somebody who wants to be successful, and I imagine that's pretty much everyone here, if you're on here, however you define success for you, and something comes to you, like a friend wants to give you money or a business opportunity comes, but you didn't work really hard for it. If the underlying programming in your system is I'm not worthy, when that thing comes, you either won't be able to see it, you'll deny it, or you'll push it away through your subconscious programming because you won't feel worthy. And if that thing came to you with ease and grace, then your system would actually be like, you'd be in full rejection mode. You couldn't take it. So your energy starts becoming in defensive mode. You might get angry without really knowing why. You might start getting sad. You don't really know why. Your body will use the tactics that it knows to use: anger, sadness, depression, sleepiness, ailments, all sorts of things, to block that from your point of view. Because guess what, guys, when I have a headache, I can't be thinking about my multi-million-dollar corporation that I'm running. All I can think about is the fucking headache, right? It's a great tactic by the body to move your focus. So I want you to go and here, this is going to be a key component of what I talk about here. And this will answer a lot of questions, or will start to answer a lot of questions for a lot of you guys, is why don't I feel worthy? And I'm going to propose and assert that the answer to that question is that you haven't been taught how to feel properly.
Say that line again, because it sounds too simple for people.
It sounds so simple, but you haven't. So the reason you feel unworthy is that you haven't been taught how to feel. Properly is probably not the right word, because there's no proper way to feel. I don't know about you guys. My parents were not great people at showing me how to feel. And they're very loving people, supportive, incredible human beings. But when I look at my capacity to feel, specifically as a man, mostly we're trained around two emotions. It's anger and joy. That's it. If I'm not joyful, I'm pissed off that I'm not. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Right? Women, a lot more expansive, yet like the first thing I said when we started this out, there's a fundamental belief underneath, and your entire identity structure, subconsciously and consciously, is about creating a life that blocks you from having experiences that would create a trigger that's too painful for you to deal with. So if you were 4 years old, you brought home this thing that you were so proud of, you're like, Mommy, Daddy, I brought this thing, it's so beautiful. And they're like, eh. And in that moment, you're like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Whatever the feeling associated with that initial hurt of trauma that I'm not good enough is, you spend an entire life blocking yourself from experiencing that. So you'll meet the man or the woman of your dreams, but they'll trigger that little piece and you go, fuck that, I'm out of here. Or you'll destroy them. You'll do something, and you'll do it subconsciously. You won't do it by actually seeing that you're the one, and it'll make you believe that something's happening to you versus that you're creating it. And I'll talk about that as well in just a second. So when it comes to self-worth, why don't we feel worthy? So I want you to get this. You have an experience. Something happens throughout the day. You get triggered. There's a sensation in the body, some kind of contraction. You don't want to experience that. You're not programmed to experience that because it scares you. It creates the confusion and the frustration that you're trying to avoid. So what do? You focus back on work. You go take a cup of coffee. You take a drink. You smoke a cigarette. You do whatever you want to do to relieve that moment of anxiety instead of feeling it. Now, if I don't feel that moment and what's going on inside my body, the message I'm sending down to my system. So there's the mind and there's the heart. And what what our work does is it connects the heart and the mind. So you start operating from heart mind, not just from mind, because the whole world is really, really good from mind, terrible from heart. And your heart is actually where all your alignment is. This is the truth. This is filled with lies. This is filled with lies and stories and things that you made up your entire life, but your heart always knows the truth.
Until you clean it up and use it for what it's meant to be used for.
Yes, exactly. So if I'm not willing to feel something like a frustration or an anger, the signal I send down to my body, to the heart, to this part, this is where the subconscious actually is. The signal I send down here is I'm not worthy of having that experience. I'm not worthy of that emotion. Now, I want you to think about how many millions of times in your entire life you've done that, where you barely even noticed that you did it, or you did it on a big thing and then you did notice it, but still you're like, fuck, I don't want to do that. And you send the signal down to the body over and over again. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Then you have this awesome idea. You're like, woo, I'm going to build $1 million business. Come on. And the body's like, yeah, but you're not worthy of that. So guess what you got to do? You got to work really hard. You're going to have to work your ass off till you got nothing left. You're exhausted every fucking day. You don't see your kids, and your health. Yeah, that can go out the window, but you're going to have $1 million business. Just work really, really hard for it. And then opportunities come, like people, financing, JV partners, all those kinds of things. And they come and they're right here, but you're so blind because the programming is I'm not worthy of things that come to me easy. I got to work hard for it, that they're right here. And you can't even have the ability to take it. Or if they do, you chalk it up to coincidence, to magical, mythical type thinking. You think, wow, I can't believe that happened to me. And your energy in your field is literally, it's too good for me, get away from me, subconsciously. And this is what we're all doing. This is why it's not easy. So, like I said, your opinions are cool. You can have opinions about frustration and stuff. It doesn't change the fact that there's now frustration in the system. Where Ilan and I have kind of come to so far in our education is that whatever is happening is perfect right now. My opinion about what's happening right now Doesn't change the fact that it's here right now, because there's only now anyway. Now my opinions about it come from the past, my worry about the past, my hopes for the future. And that actually disrupts your alignment, because you constantly push yourself back into an old identity that doesn't even exist anyway, but that you continuously tell the story about. So you tell that story in the present, and it becomes a now phenomenon as if it's alive and real right now. Instead of just seeing, guys, that partly what I notice is the issue with the personal development space is that it's about empowerment, which is great. I love empowerment. But empowerment will have you believe that you're going to get to a point in your evolution where fear is no longer going to be there, where you're always going to be happy, right? And that you're not going to be scared, you're not going to be sad. And then like 10 years down the line, you've been doing the work and you get sad and you're like, what the fuck? I already did this work. Why am I sad again? This again? I can't believe it. I understand it, right? I understand it. How come? Because this doesn't help you with that. Intelligence doesn't help you with this. And what ends up happening is that you've been led to believe that you can somehow get your system to the point where you get to choose what's in and what's out. Guys, if you've experienced it, it's in. It's baked into the system, not going anywhere. If you've experienced sadness before, sadness is coming again. If you've experienced joy before, joy is coming again. How you are when those experiences are, you're either, I don't want this, or wow, I can't believe I get to experience the sadness. What is it trying to tell me this time? What is I call it a challenge opportunity. What is this challenge opportunity trying to give me this time? Let me see what I see from my perspective now. Oh my God, I never noticed that before. Boom, unlock yourself. It's having this childlike excitement about all experiences in life. If it's difficult right now, then learning to be excited about the fact that it's difficult is trying to teach you something. It's not difficult. What the body is responding to is where you've created some kind of story that when I have this feeling in my body, that means things are difficult. And that can change like this, because you start seeing things as an opportunity. Oh, wow, that thing is happening in my stomach again. What is that trying to teach me? Opportunity. Boom, you grow really quick. You surrender to the moment. It moves very quickly. Emotions, broken down to me, are energy and motion. When you're unwilling to have an emotion, the energy can't move. When the energy doesn't move, it gets stuck in the system. When energy gets stuck in the system, disease begins. Dis-ease, not disease, right? You've all heard that before, probably. I'm out of ease now because there's something in my body that wants out that I'm not letting out. Imagine a lifetime of eating food and not being able to go to the bathroom. You're going to be pretty fucking constipated. Most of the planet is super constipated on energy. And then they don't have any real connection with their bodies. In fact, they're killing their bodies, denying their bodies, popping pills, medicine, like all sorts of Western medicine. Western medicine doesn't heal you. It just cuts off the head from the body so that the body's dying and the head has no idea. And you're like, I feel great. But the body's dying. This is an invitation to reclaim your body. This is an invitation to start feeling these things again. No one can train you how to feel. It's a choice that you either get to make or you don't, saying, you know what, no matter what shows up, I'm going to fully embrace that experience. It doesn't mean, by the way, that when sadness shows up that you have to become victim to it. You can just notice that there's sadness there. That's like baseline meditation. Notice that it's there. Be the observer of it instead of getting enthralled in the fact that it is. Because the philosopher, which most of you guys are, we are too, the philosopher will want to understand the sadness. Why am I sad? How do I heal the sadness? But notice how the philosophy doesn't help the sadness move. It actually blocks it. It's the resistance point. It pushes back against the energy that wants to move. And then philosophy comes in and says, nah. So you have your intuits, right? The empaths, the intuitive people, and you have the philosophers. And neither are right. There is a balance between these 2 points of being intelligent and intuitive and understanding how intelligence can support intuition instead of squashing intuition. Okay? So hit on all that. Something else I want to talk about, bro, unless you want to chime in on something there.
Yeah. There's just some amazing stuff happening in the chat box here that I want to highlight. And we'll get to some of the.
Just so I'm clear, did that land for you guys? Like, was that a good way of explaining the condition? And is that clear for you?
Guys are chiming in about that. Hafsa, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, asked a question, which I thought was a brilliant question before. And as just listening, I just had an oh my God moment. My story is I always lose what I care about. Get the power of that. I always lose what I care about. Now, that program happened when he was really, really young, and something happened where someone or something that he loved left. And then a program every time I love something, it leaves. Every time I care about something, I lose it. Very valid for a 5-year-old to believe that.
Half says a she.
Half says a she. Okay, so very, very logical for a 5-year-old little girl to believe that, right? How is that serving her when she's 20, 30, 40 years old? And now all this proof has been there. And the entire time, everything in life is avoiding that horrible pain that 5-year-old little girl felt. And so you could see how you will structure your entire life not to feel that pain again, ever. So would this person ever take risks? Would they ever put themselves truly out there? Who else was it? Gabby had mentioned in here, and I don't know if I highlight. Man, you guys are so good and so on the ball and communicating today. I'm writing these things down on a piece of paper here. So Gabby wrote her conversations were I'm late. They beat me to it. Things like that. If that was your conversation about life, right? You have age conversation. I'm late. It's always late. Da da da. Will that person with that belief system ever even try? Or would it be more like, what the hell's the point? I'm too late. So you could see how it doesn't matter how much work you do. If these are your belief systems, right? There's no alignment to that. And that's what Hafsa wrote, manifesting inconsistency, trying and failing, unconscious competence. Absolutely. Then who else did I highlight here? Evilise. And I think this is so perfect, Evilise. I was conditioned into feeling guilty about wanting more or thinking of myself. And then she writes, my mom didn't live life on her own terms. She always did what others expected of her. Now she's unhappy or depressed. I've always been expected to be like her and live the same way. And then you go out there and you go, but I want more. I want that high paying job. And that little girl who's been programmed in from a very, very young age, that's not how this life works, right? You have to struggle. You have to do everything for other people. You can't have anything on your own, blah, blah, blah. So you're at constant odds with yourself. And guys, this is exactly what we're talking about. Until that stuff is healed, and I mean fully felt and healed at all 4 levels. And Tracy, this is to your question. You've done a lot of this mind work, and you've been able to create perceptual shifts in your reality. The reason you guys keep experiencing the patterns over and over and over again, because you haven't healed it at all the levels. When it is fully healed, it is gone. Gone. And if you think of yourself as manifestation is an energy that is constantly flowing through you. This energy of abundance is constantly flowing through you. It is always here. It's right in front of you all the time.
You can't stop it even if you want to.
It's right here. Everything you ever want is literally right here in front of your nose, but it's through this veil. It's through this veil, and that veil consists of all of your blockages. The emotional blockages, the physical blockages, the thought blockage, all of it, right? So think of it, it's almost like a cap. Like if I put a cap on this water and you know that everything you ever wanted is in this bottle. It's in here. It's right here for you. But you put a cap on it. You put a cap on what you're able to receive. You put a cap on what you're worthy of. You put a cap on what you'll allow. You put a cap on what mom told you how life is and what dad told you what life, all of this stuff, right? What if you could live life where you actually had tools to remove that cap? Just that simply. Remove that cap, and literally everything that you've ever wanted, the relationships, the body, the money, the opportunities, will all start to naturally flow to you, which will seem like magic to you, and it will just become your normal everyday to day life. And I just think you guys are already starting to find those things just by listening and tuning in. And that's why we love this work, right? Like Hafsa, you're never going to be the same after that realization. Ivelisse, you'll never be the same after that realization. Amazing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So yeah, I mean, to me, look, abundance truly is not about the money, although that's surely nice. It's like abundance is easy when you're living in your alignment. What a lot of people don't realize when they say yes to this, right, is that what you're saying yes to is your personal alignment. And when you know that so well, you know the energy and frequency of your alignment degree that anything else to you is unacceptable. And it's really, really, really simple because alignment is just what feels good. Like when you look at this one, you're like, that feels good. You look over here, like, all right, I'll do it anyway. That's out of alignment. Right there. And there's a way to get so intimate with that feeling that it's so clear what is and what isn't. Now, here's the thing. When you get into alignment, you might find out that you got to get the hell out of your job, that there's people around you right now that while they're might be good people, no judgment on them, just are no longer in alignment with who you are, what you're about, and what you're interested in life. It might mean simplifying your life or minimizing it in order to take a step back to educate yourself on something that will make you catapult forward. So people think that when they get into alignment, into abundance energy, that means rainbows, butterflies, unicorns, and the sky is open and the Lord comes down and blesses you upon your very skin. And it might be that if you're at the place in your life where that's what alignment looks like. So what was the line again that you dropped in Romania? The one I said about the failure?
Oh, failure is nothing other than a course correction.
Absolutely. I think that's fucking brilliant. Your life is a series of course corrections. Because you can't, like I said, there's no way to not be in manifestation energy. We're biologically built to be manifestors. Everything we do is built out of preconceptions and ideas and energies that literally manifest reality in front of you. You're doing it without even knowing that you're doing it. Knowing that you're doing it is really good because then you can get curious about how do I do more or how do I get more in greater alignment, stuff like that, right? But when you're like, yeah, I want to live in my alignment, great. Then everything that's not that right now in your life, guess what? Needs to kind of fall away to create space for what alignment looks like. And for a lot of people, that ends up scaring them because they're like, well, I didn't know that was going to go away. It's like, yeah. But when it does, wait till the space opens up and you get to manifest into that space again and you experience it and manifest it out of your alignment. It's really exciting. So, we don't know what that process looks like for you, but we can tell you what it's been like for us. And it's just like the rest of life. It comes with its shares of ups and downs. Life is not a linear process, right? It's like organized chaos, so to speak, but it's organized. There's nowhere we look in the universe that we don't see everything in perfect balance, right? That just seems to be the way of our universe. And doesn't matter from the smallest microbes to an atom to, the biggest universe on the planet, everything is sitting in this incredible balance. It's taken 13.8 billion years of this perfect balance playing itself out for us to be sitting here together having this moment. That's amazing. Like the things that are coming out of my mouth right now took 13.8 billion years and billions and trillions of different little circumstances that have to go just right for me to be communicating what I'm communicating right now. Even if you just take that away from this webinar and you start realizing how incredible that is and you start living from an energy of gratitude for that, your life will change. I wrote a thing yesterday on Facebook. Everybody in the world is trying to raise the bar. Every entrepreneur I know, they want the bar raised. I'm of the complete different thought. Lower that bar so low, so fucking low, that when your feet hit the ground in the morning, you're like, wow. You take that first breath of air, wow. This moment that you get to live this life in this body and have this experience, which, by the way, in my personal opinion, is just part of the game. Like your body, the moment this body dies, it will be so seamless. You won't even notice that. You'll turn around and be like, oh shit. There's me over there. Guys, don't worry. The game's so I'm still playing. It's just a level. And we get to keep playing this game. So I don't know about you guys, but when you feel bad, when you feel shitty, negative, angry, for me, generally speaking, the circumstances that come into my life replicate that emotion. It's just like a spiral downwards. I'm upset now. Like I make that person upset. This is upset. I do something at work that's stupid. I crash my car. Like I eat wrong. I drink too much. Like all that kind of stuff. When I feel good, I'm in gratitude. I'm like, wow, so much appreciation. Suddenly, this like miraculous person steps around the corner and is exactly who I need to meet. Right? I'm going to meet one of those people tomorrow in Irvine, California. Like all these magical circumstances start happening, and it's this beautiful process of just observing the unfolding as it unfolds into your alignment. So while you might have questions, well, how do I do that? Which is an ironic question to be asking when you're only talking about being. You really can't do anything to be more. There are certain ways and things that we can point to, and this is what we do with our students. We point to, like, here's what you get to observe. Tell me what you see. Because for me, a good teacher doesn't tell you what to see. They just show you where to look. Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, real quick, real quick. The line got cut out. So failure is nothing more than course correction was the line that I said.
Yep. Life is what people see as failures, especially when you're living in your alignment. It's so obvious that it's not a failure. It's just an action that you didn't. It's a result based on an action. I'm sorry. It's a action you took with a result, and the expectation of the result just didn't thought it's supposed to be. That's what a failure is. But the result is there. The fact that you have an opinion about it, again, opinions don't matter. Whether the result was a failure or a success, two different people would look at the same situation and be like, I would love to have that result.
Yeah.
What a success. So whatever's going on for you, when you're here and you trust so much inside of this thing, then you're always like, oh, okay, that's not supposed to be here right now. It falls away. This relationship falls away. That business partnership falls away. And then you get really excited again because you're like, wow, I wonder what's going to show up in space to that. Guys, like, think about the energy of a child. It's so ironic because we as children, we rush so much to become an adult. And then as an adult, we go do all this work just so we can be a child again. And this is how children operate. There's no attachment to what's happening. They cry one moment. Guess what? That's what the body was supposed to be doing in that moment. The moment we stopped telling adults that you can't have a temper tantrum was the moment we started killing off your childhood. Because there are moments that you want to have a fucking temper tantrum because you're upset about something. But if you could just get the fucking thing out, then you would feel fine. 15 seconds later, you would be fine because the energy moved. It's when you want to have a temper tantrum and you have to go like, hi, yeah, I'm having a great day. My life is super. Social media status upgrade. That's the shit that kills you. And it's like that primal thing, right? So again, instinct, intelligence, intuition, we're all of those fucking things. You can't reprogram instinct, guys. That's the thing that when you hear like a sound, you just freak out. That's millions of years of evolution have programmed that into you. Instinct, don't touch it. Intelligence is awesome because we're learning a lot, but at the same time, it creates a lot of people really fucking unhappy.
Yeah. Right?
And it creates a world like this where it's always have to get somewhere. I always have to achieve something. I always got to produce the next thing so that I feel good about myself. Why? I just imagine this question of a life free of achievement. What would you even do in the morning if there was nothing to achieve? Would you even get out of bed? Like we don't even know what that world looks like. I don't know what that world looks like. But it's a question I ask myself regularly because I'm like, is this life really just about achieving more? I don't think so. So my contemplation started becoming about how do I live out of pure intuition? Not instinct, intuition. How do I listen to that greater intelligence? Because I'm part of that greater intelligence. I can't separate myself from that greater intelligence. And if the whole universe is in balance and it's taken 13.8 billion years for me to spit this stupid, these things that are coming out of my mouth right now, it's part of that. Do I want to trust what intelligence has taught me based on what some humans wrote in a book or things that I saw in a movie or what my parents thought were ideals, which is really just magical, mythical thinking, by the way, made up bullshit that I believe is real? Or do I want to open myself up to an intelligence that's holding the entire universe together, the energy of love, and just tune myself in and then have things come through me and I go, yep, that feels good. And I just go do that thing. Then life is so easy. So easy. That's every morning for me, Ilan and I. Go ahead, bro.
I want to share with you guys a few exercises. So Guy mentioned intuition, and I think intuition is another one. Like abundance is one of those things that gets thrown around. No one really thinks of what it is. Intuition is another one, and I want to really simplify intuition for you in a way that you can ongoingly, on a daily habit, practice it. Now, keep in mind that we're talking about sensations in the body and things like that. For some of you, you're like, I don't even know what the hell that is, right? So for me, intuition is basically, if something is a yes, it comes from here, right? It's like the sensation in the chest, and it feels like I'm being pulled towards something, like almost like a magnet is pulling me. Okay. Now, as soon as that magnet pulls me, because that magnet generally pulls you to things that scare the shit out of you a little bit, maybe a lot of it, like stretching for that job or starting that business or ending that relationship or moving across the country, whatever. But you have this like innate feeling. Then this comes in and goes, why would we do that? That's going to commit suicide. Like, this is crazy. And it throws everything that it can at you. You're stupid. You're too old. It's too late. All the things that we've been talking about, right? So if you just learn to trust that, right? Now, the other thing of that is, if you notice, it's like a magnet, when they're plus or negative, there's that like pushing away. It's the same thing. It's like this just pushes you gently from. So yesterday I was talking to someone and they said something which I thought was really smart. It's like, what if instead of intuition, you gauged it as comfort? When this feels comfortable, it pulls you towards something, right? Like you're looking for the soul's comfort, the yes of the soul versus the no. Notice I'm not talking about the yes and the no here. This is programmed to do one thing and one thing only. If this is new, it will create it as scary. If it is known, it will be like, yeah, keep doing that. Even if that shit doesn't work. You keep dieting the same way, keep producing the same results. But every time it's like, okay, do this. No, I'm not comfortable doing that. Your life that you want is on the other side of being uncomfortable. I don't know how else to say that to you. You want to stay comfortable, you're going to have the same life over and over and over and over. Like that's just how it is. So an exercise that you can do on a moment by moment basis is, instead of going to this to give you answers all the time, is you actually start feeling it from here. Because when you start to give your loyalty to this instead of this, which has been leading your life for a long time. And if you're happy with the way your life is and you're fully content and you're okay to accept that life for the next 30, 40, 50 years of your existence, then by all means, don't change a goddamn thing. If you're someone that wakes up knowing that there's more to your potential, more to your fulfillment, more to your abundance, more to the impact that you came to generate in this lifetime, then you get to start practicing some new ways. You get to start listening to this. And so all it is the next time, whether you're picking whether to do something or not, whether you're picking a meal at a restaurant, whether you're deciding what you're going to do that day, whether you decide whether to pick up the phone or not, you just don't ask this. You close your eyes and you drop in and you just start feeling this. And you ask a very simple question. Should I do this thing? Should I do this thing? Should I call this person? Should I start this business? Should I invest in this? Should I go meditate? And listen, feel. It will guide you. And the more you start to listen to it, the louder this guidance system gets. This guidance system is infallible. It doesn't mean that you only leads you to amazing things. It will always lead you to your highest and next growth opportunity, right? Now, I don't know how many of you guys have gone through growth opportunities. They're rarely, these like sugar-coated rainbow gumdrop things. They're usually like things that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? But when it comes from here, you know that you will always be supported and always be taken care of. The money will always show up. The opportunities will always show up. The perfect partners will always show up. The perfect everything will always show up. And it will be so much bigger than anything that you can get your puny little human mind around, because you're now tapping into universal God love energy, not just, Ilan, Ferdman, 37-year-old human mind brain. Really, really powerful. So that's one exercise, just to practice every single day, just a little bit. Whenever you take notice, like you're dealing with something, you want to answer to something, just drop in. Don't figure it out here. If you're saying things like, I need to figure it out, you're here. If you're asking yourself, how do I do this? You're here. All that stuff is brain trying to do that stuff. Okay? Feel. Okay? So that's exercise number 1. 2 other exercises. 1, a lot of you were asking, how do I know what these thoughts are? How do I know what these beliefs? And a lot of you have already seen, they just kind of arise. You have these conversations and all of a sudden you're sitting there going like, oh my God, aha moment. Practice throughout the day. 1, sit down and write your thoughts about X. You want to start a business, just start writing your thoughts about why you can't get this business off the ground. Write what you want, and then write on the other side like why you believe you can't have it. And you'll start to see there are stories there that you've had for decades. Time, money, smart, can't overextend, can't ask for what I want, whatever it is, right? And just start to see, because these are the programs that are running you. And the other thing, and this is a practice that Guy and I used to do, is set an alarm on your phone for your waking hours, an alarm that goes off every hour. And every hour, when that alarm goes off, all you have to do is write down what you're thinking about at that exact moment. And you're going to start to see that there's certain patterns circulating that are having this life show up in a very, very particular way for you. So, Uniqua, you asked like, how do I figure this stuff out? I just wanted to share that little bit with you, because it's not necessarily about figuring it out. Figuring it out is going to the same mind that created the thing in the first place, right? It's just putting yourself into the awareness state, having the request, hey, God, please show me what are the things in the way of me receiving untold abundance, and be ready and willing to say yes and be grateful for what you see. It ain't going to be pretty. No one likes to see how they've been an asshole. No one likes to see how they've been responsible for cataclysmically self-sabotaging yourself over and over and over again. It's not pleasant. I get that. Guy, I want to ask you a question, because you've shown up so beautifully, and I know that like we got on the call 10 minutes before and you were in a world of hurt, right? Like Guy was debating not to even be here today. Okay. So I'm curious, how do you feel now?
On purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll tell you what that means to me. So just to clarify why I wasn't going to show up, I woke up, started getting sick last night, and I was dealing with vertigo just a few weeks ago. And if you've ever dealt with vertigo, it's extremely unpleasant. And even so, it kind of all ties into this. So it carried over from last night. I've been really dizzy all day, and like my brain's not feeling quite all there and stuff like that. And there's like a driving force, right? Like we made up this game to transform people's lives. We love this work. Like if we're yelling or getting loud, it's because it's just like passion oozing out. It's what we do. There's people, in my opinion, way too often try to take action when they're lacking resource. Mm-hmm. So like your energy resource, right? Just like people want a certain body, so they don't feed the body, but then the body doesn't have resource. Now the body is dysfunctional and then causes all sorts of problems. Your energy has resource too. Greater intelligence offers resources. Gaia energy, Mother energy, Earth energy has resource for you too. When you're on purpose, there's more resource available. That's my experience of it. So I can show up here, and I just want to point out there's no avoidance. I spent the morning not trying to fix it. Like I gave my body resources, and then I went and meditated, and with a sensation that was in my body was uncomfortable, I didn't try to defeat it. I actually went into it and let it express itself.
And what notice, and this is like such a great, because this is exactly what we've been talking about all day here. The greatest resource, I will say, is that Guy has a commitment to something so much bigger than himself. By the way, you guys get, this is free. What you received here today is free. We don't have to show up to this.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of people that pay us a lot of money to be with them, right? This is free. But can you guys get that because of Guy's commitment to the transformation of humanity, this becomes a self-expression? And then the things that would normally stop a human being, stop you in your life, become inconsequential. Do the money test in your life, right? Like I think the gun to your head is like a little extreme, but like do the money test. There are things that you now believe that you're not capable of, that you can't do, that you've struggled to do, etc. If I said to you, hey, I'll give you $1 million to do that, $5 million, $10 million, $100 million, how many of the things that you buy hook, line, and sinker, bullshit your way and weasel yourself out of doing, would you do if I gave you that amount of money? Right? Like, Guy and I have found money is not our thing. It's not. It's nice to have. We love money. We love buying nice things. We love having experience. We love all that. It's not a driving force. It's not a core driver for us. A core driver for us, and this would be great for you guys to seek, is making a profound difference. Working with people like you and having people live extraordinary lives because that's their God-given right drives us more than anything else. And so for Guy, right, like he could have bought into, I'm not feeling well, blah, blah, blah. Notice how, did you guys feel that Guy was feeling sick or not well by what he transmitted to you today? I didn't. In fact, he got woken up because of you guys being here and asked these questions.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I would venture to say that he feels infinitely better right now than what he did when he first got on the call.
Because I'm present. I'm
Exactly.
present, right? And so just to kind of harp on this a little bit, the thing I'm most proud of today is my ability to just be with whatever experience I'm having. In the past, if I would have woken up the way that I woke up today, I would just be fighting it because that's what everyone told me. Oh, you're getting sick? Fight it. You don't have to be sick. Fight it. I've tried to fight all sorts of sicknesses in my life. It never got me feeling better. And I just laid there for an hour and there was what people would describe as a very uncomfortable feeling in my body and pounding in my head and all these things. And I didn't try to avoid any of it. I just was like, something just needs to get expressed. Right. And it's still expressing itself right now. Right. So and this happened like a few weeks ago too with the vertigo. It was just there. And I was like, I have vertigo now. Great. And I was just like in the experience, present with the experience while it's happening. And I got to do incredible things even while that was happening. That was not possible a few years ago.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, this is going to sound so strange. We care more about you having the life of your dreams than you do.
That's funny.
Just let that sink in for a second. Like, we care about you having the life of your dreams more than you do. It's amazing. Like when you have kids, for example, and you know you need to pick up your kids at 2:30 or 3 or whatever from school or something, right? Is there a maybe? Is there like a, I don't really feel like it today. I'm just going to leave them there. No, you fucking show up. When you have a commitment to others, it's amazing what you will do. I ask you this, why do you not do that for yourself? Why is it so easy to let yourself off the hook and be okay with average and mediocre and just keep plugging away doing the same shit over and over and expecting a different result? How is that okay? And maybe that's just my thing, but like, I don't get it. I just don't. Like, you're a divine being. Every single one of you on here right now, you are a divine being. You didn't come here to have a mediocre life. You didn't come for things to be okay. And, oh, I'll have it in good in this area, but not in this area. No, that's not what it's all about. Abundance is effortless and ease in every single area of your life. It's living in a state of magic every single day. You're either willing to do the work that it takes to live in that state, or you're not. And either way is great with me. And I am letting you know that I'm committed that every human being live that way. Now, you might not be ready to take that adventure, and that's fine. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, I want you to enjoy life. Whatever you have left, your next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, living in that state versus the other one. You've played the other one. You've tried the other one. So here's what I want to offer you. You've read the books. You've watched the videos. You've maybe even had coaches and joined seminars. You are here right now watching this for a very particular reason. Because you're at point A in your life and you want to get to point B. Right? There's somewhere that you are and there's somewhere that you want to be. There's one of two ways that happens. You're either going to go out and figure it out. Figure it out, right? Do all that stuff on your own. And I've done this. That road looks something like this. And eventually you get to B, right? I think what Guy and I, and for all you guys that have been on our programs, if you want to chime in, like, I think what Guy and I's superpower is that we have an ability to work with someone and give them the most linear path to get from A to B, to create the things that they actually want in their lives in every area they want with velocity, and then have that ability to replicate it in all other areas of your life and just keep growing. So if that sounds exciting to you and you want to go down that journey with us, this, by the way, guys, is like, I know for some of you guys, this is like, wow, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm telling you, this is like scratching the surface of what we do when we get to work with people. So what we do is we take an application, okay? We tried the dollar application. It was just a flop because you treat it like a dollar application and, it's just not worth it to you. So the application is $100. You pay the $100. You fill out a quick questionnaire. That questionnaire lets us know what is it, what's your A and what's your B, and then let us give you that most direct path. Okay. Now we have, like I said, programs that range anywhere from, I think $47 is our cheapest program to, $120,000, and literally every step of the way, whatever your time and money investment is we can figure out some way to provide support so that you can remove that blockage, that you can live in the state of abundance and actually experience the rest of your life from that place. So if for whatever reason you fill out the application, and by the way, I read these personally, I communicate with every single one of you personally. This doesn't go to a sales floor or a sales team. You deal with me and me only. So you get some additional coaching, right? If for whatever reason you choose not to move forward with any of our programs, we'll give you back the $100. It's literally a placeholder. And if you do choose to move forward with one of our programs, that $100 will go towards credit towards any one of those programs. At the end of the day, I don't want to just like put you in a car because that's the most expensive car. That car might not be right for you. I'll tell you a funny story. A guy asked us for coaching for a year, and we told him it was $120,000. And then I started to look at like what his wants and desires are. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, it would be stupid for this guy to go and spend $120,000 with us. And I literally offered him a program at half of that because I thought that that's what aligned. Now, how amazed and shocked do you think that man is right now? Look, it's not about money. It's about you getting what you want to fulfill on your dreams now. Not in a someday, one day. One of our greatest mentors, he said, like, I don't know. I only know that there's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm well aware that if one day I wake up and it's someday, a whole bunch of cool shit is going to happen all over the world. But I am yet to see that someday. That's the only thing on the table. This is not to sell you some like big ass program. This is to give you an opportunity to connect with us and figure out what is the right next step for you. And it's the best way that we know how to do it.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just say that, 98% of you guys probably end up in our masterclass, especially if you haven't been in a different program with us, because that's a foundational piece really that we set with you guys, so you can start really expanding very quickly. And then I'll just say this, a lot of people ask about procrastination, and here you are, faced with a choice if you're going to make it, whether it's something you want to do right now. So the cure, so to speak, for procrastination is having a sense of urgency. That's pretty much what it all comes down to. Yeah. You will find that people that are really good action takers have a sense of urgency in what they're doing. People who sit around and spend a lot of time thinking about what to do, that's what procrastination leads to. They think that thinking about thinking is doing something, where just doing something is really doing something. Otherwise, you're just thinking. So it's pretty much how it happens. And honestly, like we talked a lot about feeling here. And if your initial hit is like, yeah, I want to work with these guys, I would say trust that hit. The mind is, of course, going to kick in with all the reasons why to do or not to do. And here's the reason yes, here's the reason no, here are my pros and cons. And the mind is a meaning, reason making machine. It's what it do. You can't stop it. Like when you want to go buy like the car of your dreams, for Ilan and I, like Ferraris, I have like a visceral response in my body. They're like, oh my God. Like I get excited like a little child. And then like people buy those cars, they rationalize. They're like, oh, it gets a good miles per gallon and it's going to help me pick up chicks, or whatever the frick it might be. But it's like, that's not what bought the vehicle. That initial response is what really makes the purchase. So like, here it's kind of the same thing. Like we invite you to just check in with your body. And if you're like, yeah, I really want to be around these guys, then take the application and find out how you get to be around us and in what capacity that would work for you right now with your circumstances, your finances, wherever you might be. And again, right, these programs are not for everybody. For some people, they're expensive. For some people, they're super cheap. It just kind of depends on where you're at. I think it's always worth having that conversation, and you get to, talk to Ilan. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and really, guys, like even that last piece might seem so menial, but we often make this analogy. Like if you want to get something done in your life, and today that feels like it's not available to you. If tomorrow your child, if you're a parent, needs to go to the emergency room and time or money was an issue, guess what? You're going to find the time and money to take that child to the emergency room. If your transmission in your car breaks, but you got to get to work, and today time and money an issue, tomorrow it won't be, because you're going to find time and money to fix the transmission because it's important to you. That's called playing a game. Ilan and I transforming 100 million people's lives, it doesn't mean anything to anybody. It just means something to us because we're playing that game and we have a sense of urgency around it. And it gives our life a lot of juice and value, and we take actions. And we invested $300,000 in our own development just last year, and probably on the way to do that again this year as well, because it matters to us. It's a game that really, truly matters to us to be masters of. How do you make a huge impact on planet Earth? How do you change the conversation on planet Earth? Those are questions we're extremely interested, not necessarily finding the answers, but remaining curious about our entire lives and serving it as best as we can. So if you're at that point and you're feeling that sense of urgency, go ahead, take the application, and then just know that $100. Yeah.
SatoriPrime.com
/masterclass. Just know that money with $100 will either go towards the program that you register with us for, or we'll refund it to you. So there's really no risk to you this way or that way. We tried the last 2 webinars doing dollar applications, and it's kind of what we anticipated, which is why we don't love doing those things. It's like you pay to pay attention. I
wish I could like put in big letters what Cynthia just wrote. I started 2 months ago, and I feel like a freaking unicorn farting rainbows with XYZ factor.
Please let's save that for future testimonials. Hold on,
Cynthia, that's going on my website.
Yeah. I just saved that one.
So good,
for sure. Cool.
Yeah, if you guys, I know we're coming up on time here. If anyone has any questions, okay, about anything that we said here, or if you have any questions about taking the application, not taking the application, look, we did the application for $1. And Guy literally before, for the last 2 sessions, we did it for $1. And Guy literally before said, do you want to continue that? And I said no, and I'll tell you why I said no. My take is this: if you don't feel like you're worth $100, then and this is no judgment, then honestly, we have nothing to talk about. And I mean that in the best way possible. Like, your life matters. And it doesn't matter $1. It matters priceless. Whatever it is that you want for yourself, for your life, for your family's life, for your health, if that's not worth $100, then that's something you really want to get interested in and investigate.
Agreed.
And that's why I said to Guy, I was like, look, if someone's not willing to invest $100, because the bottom line is we gave it for $1, and 50% of the people that took the application never even filled out the application. You think if they spend $100, they'd fill out the application? You goddamn right they would. I would make this $1,000, but I know that would leave a lot of you out the door, and that doesn't feel good to me either. So don't think, feel. Put yourself in a situation and envision the life that you want. Feel that life. Feel what that body feels like. Feel what living in that place that you want feels like. Feel what that bank account would feel like. Feel what taking your family on a vacation on your dime would feel like, or buying your dad or mom a car or a house. Feel what that would feel like. And ask yourself, is that worth me putting in the time and effort to make that a reality? That's what it's all about.
Bateja, I'm investing, but you have to stop talking so I can get my card info.
Awesome. You guys will have time. And if anyone has any questions, Ilan, ILAN, @SatoriPrime.com. And you guys can ask me anything you want, okay?
Mateja, sorry if I keep doing that. Brain.
Cool.
Awesome, guys. Look, our hope is that
guys in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Actually, all of our courses are on an application, which you can literally, if you want, put in your back pocket.
I told her about podcasts and that. Guys, look, we hope that your time invested here was well invested. That you learned something here today, that it motivated you, inspired you. I don't generally think people actually need motivation and inspiration. They just need to look at what's blocking the natural flow of both motivation and inspiration. So I don't like to think of ourselves as motivational speakers. However, if you got motivated today, I still think that's a win. Hopefully you had some insights about why certain things aren't working for you, and whether or not you come work with us now or in the future, whatever it might be, that it created a sense of curiosity for you in terms of things you could look at and questions you could be asking that could really make a huge difference in the quality of your life. So I think if we achieved that here today, then we did really, really good. Please come join us for these conversations as often as you like. They usually occur about every 2 weeks unless our schedule permits differently. And yeah, for those of you guys, I saw a few guys already took applications. I think it was Haley, Matea, I saw took one. I don't know if is it Florine or something like that. Florine,
yeah.
Cool. So we got a bunch of you coming in, and we got a class starting soon. Our next master class, I think,
beginning of July is going to be the next master class. So definitely get your applications in ASAP, so I can speak to you guys probably next week, and make sure that you're a fit.
Cool, beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. We look forward to connecting with those of you who put in an application. And of course, if you're not connected, by the way, to our personal development without the fluff group on Facebook, that's another great way to just stay in the loop and connect with us. All right, my people. Love you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, love you all. Bye, everyone.